welcome to another episode of Around the Wicket, where we will be recapping the two Shield matches which concluded today, the other one yesterday, and obviously previewing the two Marsh Cup games coming up. We don't have any teams at the moment, being late on a Saturday night, so we'll just do what we can. But first off, we'll go to Jack. You played cricket today, mate. How'd you go?
Next question.
Didn't go very well then. All right. Obviously, we do play on the same team, but I couldn't unfortunately play today due to work. So obviously, I wasn't expecting a hell of a lot.
We missed
best
you, mate.
Player or one of your best players playing them. Obviously, it's going to hurt a lot. How many runs did you make?
Next question.
All right. So nothing. Okay. Beautiful. All right. We'll recap the first Shield match being, we'll go South Australia versus Vic. Obviously, your boys. So South Australia won the toss and elected to bat. Mitch Perry got the early breakthrough, getting Henry Hunt caught behind by Sammy Harper. And then fan favourite Scotty Boland got the next four. Aussie batting duo Travis Head and Alex Carey were pretty disappointing, to be fair. Head got a duck, Carey got 11. All the attention was on Jake Weatherald, though, and Daniel Drew, who both scored centuries. Fantastic innings for both of them. Yep. Weatherald finished with 122 and Drew 130, with Boland and Mitch Perry being the pick of the bowlers, taking 8 for 118 between them. So not bad at all. So South Australia ended up piling on 366, which is a pretty decent total. The second innings started well Victoria's batting innings started well with Pucovski and Harris putting on 110 before Harris departed for 58, and then things sort of just went downhill from there. I mean, 1 for 110 or whatever, and ended up losing. I think it was 4 for 35, scoring a total of, what was it? Just total of 264, over 100 runs light of South Australia. What was your takeaways sort of in, I guess, the South Australia's first innings, and obviously Victoria's probably a bit different. So what was your takeaways there, mate?
I think it was good for South Australia's perspective that, two guys that got runs weren't Travis Head and Alex Carey, so Weatherald and Drew, really put runs on the board. Obviously 252 between them, which was that almost outscored Victoria, just the two of those. That was, very good for them. And Victoria was disappointing, I guess. Harrison, Pucovski obviously did very well, 110. Them as a partnership duo is one of the best in state cricket. So then everyone else other than Maddo to score 82 to not even put up a show was a little bit disappointing as a Vic. But that's that first innings. You would have thought that South Australia was right in the box seat, being over 100 in front.
Yeah, exactly right. When you get 2 tons in the first inning, but one team gets 2 tons, the other team just needs to chip in here or there really to get you to a decent total. It adds up pretty quickly. But I think Victoria they lacked that person in the first innings, didn't they? They had 2 50s in their opens, which is fantastic, great start. An 82 from Maddo before he got, I think it was bowled by Pope, I think it was, wasn't it? But even still, just sort of needed to go on with it. They needed someone just to go on and get that sort of century and then build around that. So wickets were mostly shared around between Brendan Doggett, I think it was 3 for 72, David Grant snags 3 for 66, and Nathan McAndrew 3 for 60. Lloyd Pope also got that wicket when he bowled Maddo on 82. The second inning started with South Australia 102 in front, about halfway through day 3, I think it was, wasn't it? Halfway through day 3. South Australia had a better start to their second innings than they did in their first, losing their first wicket for 68 runs, opposed to I think it was 13 in the first. It was more shared around innings for South Australia the second time around. There's no massive scores. I think it was Weatherald 32, Hunt 57, Carter 29. Travis Head ended up making a few, made 46. Better than the duck you got in the first, but all great players get ducks.
They sure do.
Yeah, South Australia ended up making 213 from 58 overs, so that's relatively quickly, not overly quick. Setting the Vic, it was 316 to win, basically from 90 overs, I think 4 days play, basically. Yep. So Boland managed 2 for 39. Mitch Perry 2 for 45, 3 for 42 to Will Sutherland, and the old boy Johnny Holland took 3 for 55. How were you confident So what was your feelings, I guess, going into the last innings there, needing what you needed to win? Who did you think would win?
Well, I thought that Vicks were definitely a massive chance into day 3. South Australia with 7 down, and then those last 3 wickets were knocked off pretty quickly. So I thought that Vicks definitely, if all the batting played up perfectly, the 316 was very, very gettable in that 90 overs. Obviously, before day's play even started, we lost one of our best bats. Probably not ideal with Pucovski. That's a whole other conversation, though. And yeah, I mean, to get as close as they did, though, I mean, I think as we're talking about, that's why we need 5 days of Shield cricket.
Yeah, absolutely. As you'll get to in the next game, they were almost polar opposites in the sense that obviously the wicket was completely different as well. Makes it very different. But that one there was wrapped up in 3, I think, wasn't it?
Yep.
Something like that. And opposed to this one here, just needed that one day and would have seen the last. But obviously, as you touched on there, Pucovski, very unfortunate. We'll wait and see what, I guess, more news to come from that. So we'll wait and see what happens. But yeah, it's obviously not looking great. So yeah, hope he's going well. So yeah, South Australia had their tails up early, having the Vicks 2 for 7. What was your, I think it was 2 for 7? What was your sort of feelings then?
Look, yeah, 2 for 7. You probably think South Australia only need 8 wickets, and probably almost think Victoria probably almost go into their shell a little bit there to play out the draw. So it was only 4 days. And you'd have every right to, you lost the 2 openers, you probably think, and being Madison and Harris, you both were 2 of the 3 guys that made runs in the first innings, you probably would have been well in your right mind to just, try and soak up a draw at that point. Yes, definitely not the best start.
Yeah, 2 for 7 off 4 before Peter Hanscom obviously just had a say captain's knock, will probably be an understatement, of 148 not out, 280 as well. So sort of soaked up a few balls there, which is always good if you're sort of somewhat going for the draw. But the issue, I mean, you're sort of running out of partners in a sense. But I mean, I think although they've only scored not as many, I didn't watch this the last bit, so I'm 100%. But obviously, I know you would have done, mate. So you'd know more about it than I do. But obviously, they soaked up a lot of the balls, which I thought was good. So Merlo got 5 from 56, Harper 22 from 68, Short 25 from 85. Like they sort of were soaking up quite a few balls, I guess, which was probably their mindset. But then again, they weren't that far away from not that far away. They were 80 runs, I think, away from victory or whatever. So one more day to play. Who would have won?
I would have backed in with Hanscom on 148. Would have backed in the Vicks to win it. But I mean, obviously, both were in play. South Australia needing 4 wickets. That's what it would have been a good, probably session and a half or whatever it would have been on a 5th day. But I mean, that's Shield cricket for you.
Yeah, you're exactly right. But I mean, I was there and 4 wickets and 80 runs, what it was. So it was could have went either way. Could have been very interesting to see. But would South Australia's second innings have been looked a little bit different? Was different? Is it a different mindset there? If they have that extra day, and we spoke about it a few times though, it could not. It may not. I don't know. If they batted a bit more conservatively, you may have needed an extra 100 more runs. I don't know. We don't know. But on that extra day, but it still would have at least got a result, which was obviously what we're wanting because there's too many draws. Cool. Anything else to add for that game there, mate? Obviously, ending in a draw, so disappointing. But anything else to add before you take us to the next game?
Yeah, just again to touch on Pucovski. I mean, 11th concussion. It's not ideal. I'm definitely hoping for the best for him. Obviously, would love for him to be out there playing cricket, but his personal life and health is obviously more important than cricket. So just hopefully he gets the right medical advice, and just hopefully he is okay. 11 concussions is definitely nothing to balk at all.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it wasn't like he got hit and then he went straight off, was it? Was it more delayed? I don't know.
I think it was more delayed onset, I think. But I'm not too sure.
I thought I heard it was delayed, but obviously, I mean, 11's too many, and wishing the best of luck. But do you want to take us through the Queensland versus New South Wales game, which obviously got a result, and got a result, fairly quickly as well?
Yeah, not right. As you said, it was the complete polar opposite, especially wicket-wise. Adelaide Oval had a flat deck. And this was, nice and green and bouncy up at the Gabba. New South Wales won the toss and bowled first, which for a minute there was looking like Queensland were going to combat the green wicket with Khawaja really, taken to the New South Wales attack. He made 63, but Queensland were knocked over for 193. And I think it kind of set the tone when Labuschagne got out for 8 with that LBW. Pretty much set the tone that it's not going to be easy for batting, and any score. I mean, Khawaja was 63 was very, very good knock. Tremaine took 3 for 26 to lead the Blues in that first innings. Queensland knocked over for 193. New South Wales only made 186 in reply, so just no one could get going. Although Dan Hughes did carry the bat for the Blues with 86, though. Would have thought he would make a ton to carry the bat, but I mean, he obviously didn't have enough partners. So Queensland had a 7-run lead heading to the second innings, which probably would have thought at that point that they're probably, the favourite, especially with that batting lineup, Labuschagne and Khawaja made 63 in the first innings. But that was not to be. Marnus top score with 44. But nobody else really contributed, only get knocked over for 129, and New South Wales only 137 to win. But that was looking to be quite a decent total in the end, with taking the Blues 8 wickets to get the runs. And Chris Tremaine was awarded man of the match with 557 match figures and 37 to 16 not out with a bat. And you've got written there, we'd go through our predictions. Is that what you want to do, mate?
I was going to do that obviously after I just remember we did do a preview. So do you remember who you predicted to win both the games, mate? Or?
Yeah, look, I thought Queensland were gonna do it easy with that lineup. Definitely did not take into consideration the wicket whatsoever. Because if I ever had done that, I mean, I thought New South Wales team has bowled really, really well with Copeland, Tremaine especially. And yeah, had the Vicks to win. They could have done those an extra day, but that was me. What about you, mate?
Yeah, I think I said Victoria and then Queensland. Yeah, so I wouldn't say the first one was wrong. No one picks a draw, so I'll say it's that one's not wrong, but this one obviously was wrong. It was a great finish, though. I don't know if you caught the finish, but they needed sort of few wickets or sort of 20-odd runs, whatever it was at the time, to win. There was a run out that throughout the match that obviously was given not out, I believe, and it was out by a few inches anyway. So yeah, what that would have done, who knows? But yeah, I mean, obviously with the wicket, it was hard to battle. I think it's good to see, actually, to be honest. It's a bit more greener wickets. Like I don't know if batters had it easy for too long, but I know people say, you want a fair contest between bat and ball. Maybe it was a bit too much to one side, but I'd prefer that over a road that fucking just bat for 4 days. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think it's a lot better to see. It's a lot better spectacle. It's not huge scores, but it makes it, you got to earn your runs more. I'd prefer a bowler-friendly wicket over a batting-friendly wicket, to be honest. But, there's no huge scores, but who cares? You get a result. Your runs are harder to come by. The more it means, you got the better players will score runs, I guess. But is that how do you feel about that? Or do you prefer sort of batting wicket, a bowling wicket, something in between, obviously? Or
yeah, I completely agree. I do. Love a contest between bat and ball. I think that's what. I mean, this is shit cricket, but I mean, the long format of the game is all about the contest between bat and ball. And I think it's kind of taken away a bit when there's just a flat wicket, it's just a road. I think it's just more make as many runs and take wickets if the batsman makes a mistake, rather than being a good ball and the real battle. And I think that's what, when you have a bowler friendly wicket, you get a lot more of that. So yeah, I do like these greener and bouncy wickets that let's say this one and the one in Tassie for the 5th Test match as well.
Yeah, exactly. I saw a video the other day. I can't remember exactly what it was about. But it was it sort of just went over, like, it was really interesting. It compared like Don Bradman's era, or the era after, and all the way up till now, and how much easier or harder it was to bat in this era compared to this era, how quicker the bowlers were and all that sort of stuff. And people just aren't making as many runs in like this year and the last few years as what they have been. Obviously, not going that far, but even just as of late. Like they're not making runs. I think maybe we're seeing more of what we saw, the last few days. But like even you take into account a few of the best, like Marnus, Smith, and Virat, like they haven't really been making a lot of runs recently. I think Virat got a duck the other day.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I think it was, but eight, whatever it was, the match before. Like they haven't been getting many runs. Smith obviously wasn't his best throughout the Ashes. There wasn't any huge, like, Head got a couple, obviously got a couple of tons there, but like it's a lot harder to bat these days than what it has been, was basically what the video said. So yeah, it's been very interesting to see, but yeah, I mean, I don't mind it. We got a result in 3 days, can't really complain. But yeah, all right, we'll move on to the previews, mate. Do you want to run us through the previews? Obviously, you can just sort of say the date and the time. Really, there was no teams really out yet, unfortunately, but I'm sure we'll get our predictions on social media in the next few days, so that'll be all right. But yeah, run us through the 2 March Cups if you want, mate.
Yeah, no, so Queensland and New South Wales play again at this time. Yeah, in the 1 day is on the 14th. That is at the Gabba. Queensland's currently 2nd on the table, and New South Wales is 4th. And then the next one is the Vicks and South Australia again on Tuesday. They play at 11 a.m. And as I said, the teams aren't out yet, so there's not really much else to preview other than that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's around cheap. I mean, obviously the Gabba, Queensland, Karen Rolton Oval, I think it was, a South Australian game. I haven't seen how many games have they played there. Played many games there, have they?
Not sure. I couldn't tell you what the wicket's like there.
Yeah, I always thought it was more the women's. Obviously, it's named after a successful one, but like I thought it was more the women's cricket they did there. But interesting to see. I don't know how big it is. I don't know much about it, to be honest with you. So it'll be interesting to see what sort of score there is there. But I know you'll be watching with a keen eye, mate. I'm just keen for some Tassie games. We need to get to
they're coming up next week.
Yeah, exactly. What do you think about the way they've got that set out? Obviously, Queensland versus New South Wales play each other in the Shield, and bang, straight into the March Cup. Same for South Australia versus Vic. How do you feel about that?
I don't mind it actually, because it's kind of similar to. I know it's different formats, it's different games, but like kind of similar when you have in footy, under your reserves and seniors playing the same teams, like the VFL and AFL. Sometimes it happens. It's kind of the same sort of thing. It's obviously different, it's because it's the same players, but I do like it. You get your same sort of competition, and yeah, I mean, obviously then you play obviously other teams and do the same. I don't mind it actually. What about you?
Yeah, no, I don't mind it. I think it's good to have a good contrast as well. It's good to sit there and watch the 4 days or 3 days or whatever of a Shield match, and then watch that sort of cricket format. I don't know how it'd be as a player adjusting, because at least in club cricket, you might play 2 days or whatever you play, T20s throughout the week. Like they're actually playing a Sheffield Shield, and a matter of days later they're playing 1 day. So that'd be interesting to see how that goes. But obviously they're doing it for a little while. But I don't know how I'd go with something like that. But yeah, I don't mind it as well. It gives a good contrast of viewing and be able to watch both formats. But yeah, I agree. All right. Just about does it, I think, mate. Nice and quick episode. Obviously, just being you tonight. The other boys couldn't make it. It's unfortunate, but best wishes to them. And if you're not already, follow us on what social media are you on. You're the social media expert, mate. So run us through it all. What are we on?
Whether you're listening or watching this on YouTube or Spotify, well, we're either there or we're on the other one. And then Instagram, Facebook. So yeah, give us a follow. Links will be in the description.
Beautiful. Awesome. Thanks for watching and stay safe. Have a good one.